Welcome to Lecture 11 of Computer Programming Fundamentals, L11.Java, Hello World, my first program. Your first Java computer program will be developed in this lecture, namely the traditional Hello World program. The results of the Hello World Java computer program will display on the console or computer screen. My first program will be coded in the Java computer programming language. This is the same Hello World computer program as was discussed in Lecture 5, but coded in the C computer programming language. In this case, the Hello World computer program is coded in the Java computer programming language. Although the syntax of both computer programming languages is similar, major differences between the computer programming language procedure-oriented paradigm and the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm will become apparent as we make the transition from the computer programming language procedure-oriented paradigm to the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm. To demonstrate the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm, the development of the Java Hello World computer program will be taken through the source, compilation, class load, and execute computer program development process. So let's get started coding, compiling, class loading, and executing. First, as mentioned in Lecture 10, I created a batch procedure, namely jdk7.bat. jdk7.bat is stored in my working directory called C:\\cpf. My working directory contains all my source and executable Java computer program code. For each Java development session, I launch jdk7.bat. The execution of jdk7.bat will set paths to three critical areas of my computer. Critical areas containing development software essential for my Java computer programming development. The first part, the period, designates C:\\cpf as my working directory. In other words, the directory in which I perform all my Java computer program development is now recognized as my working directory. The second part, C:\\jdk7\bin, points to the Java compiler and Java interpreter or runtime executables, namely javac.exe and java.exe respectively. As such, from my working directory, I now can launch or execute both executables to compile and run my Java computer programs. The last part, C:\\jdk7-lib, points to the robust library of precompiled Java classes that I can add to my Java computer program. All of this I can perform from my working directory because of the launch of jdk7.bat. Now that our paths are set, let's develop our first Java computer program, a computer program that will display Hello World exactly like the C computer program developed in Lecture 5, but developed as a Java computer program, where the Java computer programming language complies with the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm. Although the syntactical rules are the same for the C computer programming language and the Java computer programming language, major differences exist between the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm that the Java computer programming language is based and the computer programming language procedure language paradigm that the C programming language is based. So let's take a look at the Java computer program L11.Java, the Java version of the computer program Hello World, concentrating on the differences as the similarities, for example, the syntax similarities of the computer programming languages have already been discussed, given our lectures for the C computer programming language. The first line, which is a line comment, is identical to what you have seen with the C computer programming language, namely /L11.Java -hello world -C Java procedural object oriented. Here the L1 Java designates the file name of the Hello World program. Note all Java computer programs source code has the file extension name of Java, whereas the C computer program source code had a file extension name of C, for example, L5.C. Next, let's take a look at the major difference between the computer programming languages, namely the class statement, public class, capital L11. Each Java computer program is identified as a class, thus complying with the rules for the computer programming language object-oriented paradigm, where each Java computer program is an object or class containing methods and data, encapsulated as compiled computer code, commonly called bytecode. In this case, the class is named capital L11. The keyword public is a member access modifier keyword. The keyword public means that the methods and data variables encapsulated within class L11 are accessible by any other Java computer program or class that references class L11. Also note that because Java source code is case sensitive, uppercase L and lowercase l are not the same. Note the beginning left brace and ending right brace that demarcate class L11. Okay, next let's take a look at the next difference, although not as dramatic a difference as the class identifier statement, namely public static void main left paren string args left bracket, right paren. Not as dramatic because, like the C computer program for Hello World L5.C, each executable Java computer program must have a main, but instead of calling main a function, we call it a method. Whereas in this case, the main method definition, much like the C computer program, includes all computer program instructions within the beginning left brace and ending right brace. In this case, only one computer program instruction, system.out.println, left paren, double quote, hello world, double quote, right paren, semicolon, which I will discuss later. Getting back to the main method definition, the public keyword indicates that everything included within the main method is accessible by all computer program code included within class L11. The static keyword indicates that only one instance of the main method will be formed when class L11 is executed. The void keyword, similarly to the C computer program, indicates that the main method will not return a value after completion. Okay, next let's take a look at the left paren, string args, left bracket, right paren part. This is a default for the Java computer programming language, where parameters for the main method definition are declared. Note the syntax for declaring parameters is identical for that of the C computer programming language. Here string args, left bracket, right bracket declares an array called args, where each element of the array is of the string data type. Okay, next let's take a closer look at the only computer program instruction included within the main method, namely system.out.println, left paren, double quote, hello world, double quote, right paren, semicolon. Here we have a method call called println, where the argument passed with the call is the string literal hello world. The call to the println method will display hello world on the computer console. Note the system.out.println part. This is what we call the dot syntax that tells us that the println method is included in object named out, where the out object is included within the object system. The dot syntax thus defines the object or class hierarchy for the println method. These classes are automatically loaded or combined with the computer program code for class L11 as part of the compilation class loading process. Okay, now that we have previewed the source code, let's compile and run the Java computer program L11.java using the command processor. Now that we have discussed the computer source code for L11.java, let's compile L11.java by launching the Java compiler and class loader, namely the javac.exe executable resident in the directory c:/JDK7 /bin, since our path has been set to the C:/JDK7 as a result of the launch of the batch procedure jdk7.bat from our working directory. We can execute javac.exe from our working directory C:/CPF. Note the result of the execution of javac.exe creates the class file for L11.java, namely L11.class. Note also that the launch of L11.java from the working directory must match the case for the L11.java as stated in the source code for the class statement, namely public class L11, where L is in the uppercase. Now that we have completed the compilation and class loading step for L11.java, we can run or execute the resulting L11.class file from our working directory by launching the runtime executable, namely java.exe. The runtime executable, as was the case for the compiler and class loader, is also found in the C:/JDK7 /bin directory. Thus, the path used to reference the compiler will also reference the runtime executable. As such, the Java runtime is launched from the same working directory, namely C:/CPF, giving the executable results of displaying Hello World on the computer console, based on the computer program instruction system.out.println, left paren, double quote, hello world, double quote, right paren, semicolon, where the println method call performs the display of hello world. Okay, this concludes our discussion of our first Java computer program that mimics our first C computer program, both of which display hello world on the computer console. I trust this lecture describes the commonality between the C and Java programming languages, as well as sets the stage for migrating from the computer programming language procedure-oriented paradigm to today's widely accepted computer programming language object-oriented paradigm.